ki, Transcendental Book Distribution ki, Hari Nam Sankirtan ki. All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga.
All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Namo Vishnu.
Not able to hear you, Maharaj. It shows that you're muted.
That's because I was talking to Radheya.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know that. Yes.
So what's supposed to happen now?
Class. You can start, Maharaj. Class, please accept my respectful obeisance. You can start. I think they muted the temple program, Narsinga prayers. You can start, Maharaj. From Bhagavad Gita, any verse you can take.
Well, I think I was asked to speak about Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati.
Oh, yeah, yes, go ahead then, Maharaj. That's correct. That's appropriate for this today.
Om Jnanatimidandhasya Jananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Shrayam Rupakada Mahyam Tadhati Shapadantikam Vandehang Shri Guru Shri Jatapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Shagrajatam Shagana Raganatan Vitam Stam Sadivam Sadvaitam Savatutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Shahagana Lolita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kamshana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Bodhi Priye Vanchako Patarubhyascha Kripa Sindho Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Shadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So the auspicious disappearance day of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has just passed, and we can take the opportunity to speak something about him. His pranam mantras are there. Nam Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Iti Namane. Shri Varshavanavi Devi Daitaya Kripabdaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnanam Daine Prabhave Namaha Madhurjujvala Premadya Shri Rupa Nuga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute. Then Namaste Gauravani Shri Murte Dinatarine Rupanuga Virudhapa Siddhanta Dvantaharine. These Varshabhanavi Devi Daitaya Das is another name of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And Kripabdeya, he's an ocean of mercy. Krishna Sambandha Vigyan Dayane. The Krishna Sambandha Vigyan, the beginning of Krishna consciousness, is to awaken to our relationship with Krishna. Now I'm thinking that my relationship is with this body, with this family, with this nation, with this house, with this car, with this job, with this group, this race, this nationality. But this is all a dream. My real relationship is with Krishna. And that should not only be theoretical, but should be realized. Krishna Sambandha Vigyan. Vigyan means realized knowledge. One gets realized knowledge, tad vigyanartam sa gurumeva bigachchet, by the grace of the bona fide spiritual master. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur gave this Krishna Sambandha Vigyan. And Madhurjujvala Premadya Sri Rupa Nuga Bhaktida. After Sambandha, then there's Abhideya, dealings with Krishna, service, practical service, exchanges. And the highest goal is love of Krishna, Madhurjujvala Prema. And the highest form of love for Krishna is the love in the mood of the gopis. So he's given that devotional service, bhaktida, enriched with Madhurjujvala. And Sri Rupa Nuga Bhaktida, following in the footsteps of Srila Rupa Goswami. Anyone who wants to develop a transcendental understanding of Radha Krishna has to go through the teachings of the Goswamis, headed by Srila Rupa Goswami. And the Sri Gaura Karuna Shakti, the Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur embodied the Sri Gaura Karuna Shakti, the transcendental mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Through the Goswamis, one goes to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Through the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one goes to Radha Krishna. Namaste Gauravani Sri Murti. You're the very form of a message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Dinatarine, deliverer of the fallen souls, and Rupanuga Viruddhapa, Rupanuga Virud, Apasiddhanta Dvanta Harine. And you don't tolerate anything which is Rupanuga Aviruddha, which is against the teachings of Srila Rupa Goswami and his followers. The Apasiddhanta, you dispel, you drive out this Apasiddhanta. Two things are there, real Siddhanta and Apasiddhanta, concocted or contaminated conclusions. If we strictly follow Srila Rupa Goswami, we'll get the correct understanding. Otherwise, by sentiment, by mental concoction, by imagination, we'll get something else. And there's so many something elses. Ao Bao, Saki Beki, Jat Goshai, Goranga Nagari, the Sahaja Sampradayas. So Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur defeated their wrong conclusions and established the teachings of Srila Rupa Goswami. Srila Prabhupada tells of his meeting with Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur in Prabhupada's youth. I won't tell that story again, but Srila Prabhupada was impressed that yes, now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement is in the hands of a very capable person. And from that time, Srila Prabhupada took to heart the instructions of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He recognized that here's the right person for spreading Lord Chaitanya's movement. Then he gradually took initiation and was always thinking how to carry out the orders of his spiritual master. Vyavasayatmika buddhi ekeha gurunandana. It was on that account that Srila Prabhupada began writing books in English. Whatever you've learned from me, try to teach in English. And then also on that account that Prabhupada ventured outside India to America. When Prabhupada arrived in America, he wrote 2 poems. And one of them, he speaks about Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Sri Siddhanta Saraswati Shachishuta Priyati Krishna Sebai Jar Tulanai. Sri Siddhanta Saraswati, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, is Shachishuta Priyati. Ati means, and Prabhupada would say too much, but it means exceedingly. Exceedingly priya, dear to Shachichuta, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Siddhanta Saraswati Shachishuta Priyati Krishna Sebai Jar Tulanai. There's no one equal to him in devotional service to Lord Krishna. Krishna Sebai Jar Tula. Tula means equal. No one is equal. She Mahanta Guru Jagater Madhe Uru. Krishna Bhakti De Tai Tai. Is, yes, he's that Mahanta Guru, great, powerful spiritual master, She She Mahanta Guru, Jagater Madhe Uru, very magnanimous within the universe. Jagater Madhe Uru, Krishna Bhakti De Thai. He distributes Krishna Bhakti, Krishna consciousness in different places. Krishna Bhakti De Thai. Tar Ichcha Balavan. His desire is very strong. Balavan. Balavan means very strong, or Balavan means it has power. It has power. It's not just a wish, but it's a powerful desire, fortified by the Krishna's desire, or representing Krishna's desire. It's not just like, I want this, I want that, but a intense desire that Krishna consciousness should be spread. Tarijcha Balavan, Paschatyete Tantar. And because of your strong desire, the name of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Gauranga, can spread throughout all the Western world. Paschatyete. Hoy jate Gauranga. Pritivite Nagaradi, Asamudra Nadi Nadi. Shakale Loy Krishna Nam. Throughout the world, Nagaradi, in every town and village, Asamudra Nadi Nadi, in every ocean, from ocean to ocean, and from river to river, from the Atlantic to the Pacific, to the Mississippi and the Hudson River, and all the oceans and rivers in the Western world. This Krishna Nam can spread. Shakale Loy, everyone will take it. Krishna Nam. And the result will be Tahale Anandahoy Tabe Hoy Digvijay. Chaitanya Kripa Atishai, Maya Dushta Jata Dukhi, Jagate Shavai Shukhi. Aji Tumi Sabar Na, Vaishnavera Ichcha Purna Hoy. So there'll be a flood of transcendental ecstasy in all directions. All directions will be conquered by this transcendental ecstasy flowing from the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And the Maya Dushta Jata Dukhi, by the contamination of Maya, everyone is Dukhi, miserable. They may be thinking we're so happy, but they're miserable. But Jagate Shavai Shukhi, they can all become transcendentally happy by Krishna consciousness. Vaishnaver Ichcha Purnoha, and then the desires of the Vaishnavas will be fulfilled. She Karja Jay Koribare Agya Jari Dilo Mori Jogya Nahi Atithin Hin Tai She Tamar Kripa Magite Chi Anurupa Aji Tumi Shabar Praveen. So Srila Prabhupada was given the order by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and he took it seriously. He took it seriously. Not that, yes, he said something. Maybe, who knows, someday. No, he took it very seriously that I have to do this. However much trouble I have to do this. But Jogya Nahi, I'm not fit to do this. She Karja, this work. He gave me this work, but I'm not fit for it. So you please give me your mercy, praying to Krishna, that you're the most expert. So if you so desire, then these things may be possible. Tomar she shakti pele guru shebai pashtu mile. Jiban shartak jari, jibana shartak jari hoy. She sheba paile, tahale shuki hole. Tobe shanga bhagyate miloy. Then, if you give your power, then one obtains the factual vastu, the substance of devotional service to the spiritual master. And then that makes one's life successful. And one fortunately achieves your association. The Prabhupada quotes, Evam janam nipatitam prabhavahi kupe, kama bikamam anuja pratapan prashangat, kritvatmasat surashina bhagavan grihita, soham katam nuvisraje tavabritya sevam. Prahlad Maharaj praying that by associating kama abhikama with one material desire after another, I was following people in general and falling into a blind well full of snakes. But you're the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the sage Nard Muni kindly accepted me as his disciple and instructed me how to achieve a transcendental position similar to his own. So, katam, so ham katam visrajay tavabritya seva. How could I ever give up the service of your servant? So Srila Prabhupada is teaching, although we give all credit to Srila Prabhupada, and rightly so, Srila Prabhupada gave all credit to his spiritual master and Krishna. This is the realization of a pure devotee, that on my own, what can I do? On my own, what power do I have? But by the desire of my spiritual master, by the mercy of my spiritual master, then something may be possible. In any case, as Srila Prabhupada says in his other poem, that I've come here to this Ugrastan, and I don't know why you've brought me here, but you can make me a success or you can make me a failure, as you like, but let me try to do some service. And the rest is up to you. On our own, what can we do? I've told the story that one time we were with Srila Prabhupada. He was taking his morning walk while staying at the old Brooklyn Temple. And he was taking his walk by, I think by the East River, so some distance. So he took a car to go to the place and then took a car coming back. And when he was coming back, just rounding the corner, I happened to be in the car also. Prabhupada saw that there was a post office box. There was a post box, and a man was lifting his little child, and the child was putting a letter in the box. And seeing this, Srila Prabhupada's eyes got very wide. And he was absorbed in the scene. Absorbed in the scene. His eyes were sparkling. He was just absorbed. And I thought maybe Srila Prabhupada is remembering something from his childhood, or I didn't really know. The scene only lasted a few moments. And after the man put his son back down on the ground, Prabhupada said, the little boy on his own, he cannot do. But the affectionate father, when he helps, then it is possible. Then it is possible. So Srila Prabhupada felt that way, that on my own, he's expressing that I'm unfit, but by the mercy of my spiritual master, then Krishna consciousness can spread everywhere. By the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by the mercy of my Guru Maharaj, then wonderful things can happen. Srila Prabhupada told us one time, we wrote some offerings in the Boston temple. All the devotees wrote some offerings for Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Maybe his appearance day, disappearance day. Srila Prabhupada was pleased. And he said, maybe on more occasions than one, that the grandfather is more affectionate than the father. The grandfather is more affectionate than the father. So that he was telling us that it was very nice. And you will also get the mercy of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. It's not that we jump over, skipping our spiritual master. But by the mercy of our spiritual master, we get the mercy of his spiritual master also. If we cut ourselves off from the family, then we don't get anyone's mercy. But in the family tradition, the father's father becomes our grandfather, and we get blessings and mercy coming down. This is our system, that respect goes upward and blessings come down. Our position is to worship, to honor the bona fide spiritual master, and the accepting him as Sakshadhari, Acharyavan, Acharjamam Vijaniyam, Navamanyeta Karhichet. One should never think that the spiritual master is an ordinary man. He is the direct representative of Krishna. So, by offering our respect to the spiritual master, it's not just a ceremony, but we should see the spiritual master is directly representing Krishna. Sakshadhari Tena Samasta Shastra. Someone says, no, anyone can understand, he's an ordinary human being. But Kintu Prabhuya Priya Evam Tasya, because he is very dear to Krishna. So Krishna appreciates the service rendered to the spiritual master more than service rendered to himself. So this is our method, not to try to approach Krishna directly, but to go humbly through the parampara system. Evam parampara praptam Imam Rajarshio Vidu. And then the knowledge will descend. Bhagavad Tattva Vijnanam Mukta Sangasya Jayate. The knowledge will come. If we try directly to grab everything, it will escape us. But if we take up the service of the spiritual master and make that our heart and soul, then blessings come down. Then blessings come down. Mixed motives won't help us very much. If we want to achieve our own purposes, of course, in the beginning, we all come with our own desires, arti, jigyasu, gyanija. But the pure devotional service means anyabhilasha shunyam, to get free from those other intentions, other engagements, and to be engaged fully in the service of the spiritual master. That should be our desire. Arna kuriya kuriho maniasha. Guru mukha padma bhakya chute kuriyaikya. Arna kuriya maniasha. So Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur took this seriously and made great efforts to spread the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as received from his father, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. And Srila Prabhupada took it from Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. The whole package of Krishna consciousness. As it is. And you can see the result that the Krishna consciousness movement has spread all over the world. Still it's spreading. So many books are being distributed. Still they're being distributed more and more. So Srila Prabhupada would attribute this to the mercy of his spiritual master. If I have any credit, simply that I've followed the orders of my spiritual master. I haven't adulterated anything. So we should follow in this line and get the mercy of our spiritual master, his spiritual master, his spiritual master, the Goswamis, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And what is that? Everyone is miserable. Maya dushta jata dukhi, but jagate sabai sukhi. These poor, unfortunate people of Kali Yuga are making themselves more and more miserable. We should try to give them Krishna consciousness very liberally, very vigorously. And then they'll all become happy. And Vaishnavaricha Purnam. The previous acharyas will be happy, Krishna will be happy, we'll be happy. This is the Krishna consciousness movement. Anandam Buddhi Party. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Hare. Thank you very much. Any comments, questions?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my respectful obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, excuse me. Two things, Maharaj. First of all, I appreciate very much you taking the time to give us your association. I know you're not keeping well, but it is so inspiring to see that in spite of that, to spread Krishna Katha, to share Krishna Katha, that's very inspiring to us. Thank you so much for that, Maharaj.
This is the medicine.
Thank you. Maharaj, I had two questions. I'll ask the first one, and if time permits, if nobody else has, I'll ask the second one. You had mentioned that we should, always seek the mercy, the blessings, and follow in the footsteps of the acharyas, the parampara. That's what Prabhupada did. That's what you as Prabhupada's disciples are doing, and we as Prabhupada's grand disciples are trying to do. Maharaj, my question is, what's the difference between following and imitating?
Those two words are there, anushar and anukar. The one is just to take the form, and the other is to take the substance. There's an instructive incident that illustrates the difference. One, who was that? Maybe Raghava Pandit was collecting coconuts from different places to offer to the deities. If he would hear that there was first-class coconuts somewhere, then with great endeavor, he would somehow or other secure those coconuts and trim them very nicely and offer them to the deity. And one time he'd secured some first-class coconuts from quite a distant place, and the servant brought them in, and while bringing them in, he touched the mantle of the door. And if it was Raghava Pandit, then he said, oh, now everything is spoiled, because the people come and with dust from their feet, and they cross the threshold, and the dust flies up onto the door sill, and you've touched that door sill while touching the coconuts, so the coconuts are now contaminated. So he threw them out. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur comments on this incident very perceptively. He says it's not that just by becoming hyper, hyper fixed on being clean, one becomes like Raghava Pandit. It's not that, yes, see how particular he was about this. So if I also become particular like that, then I'll be, I'll get it. Mm. He said the real thing was his love for Krishna. Out of his spontaneous love for Krishna, he thought, now these coconuts are spoiled. So just by imitating that, trying to imitate that standard of cleanliness, one doesn't become Raghava Pandit or to achieve the same consciousness as Raghava Pandit. Rather, his actions proceeded from his deep love for Krishna. So one has to try to catch up the essential thing, and not just the outward form of the thing. Sometimes it's not that by imitating Prabhupada's accent or something like that, then there'll be a special potency. Mm. The potency comes by catching up the message. It comes by catching up the message. Not that if I'm very expert of copying the mannerisms of Srila Prabhupada and trying to walk like Srila Prabhupada or, so on. That doesn't make me like Srila Prabhupada. That Gaura Das Babaji Maharaj, that just by entering the maternity room, you don't give birth to a child. So the person who was imitating him just by sitting in a hut and chanting Harinam, wasn't going to get the result because it was just for show. Pratishtara Kore, Nirjanara Kore, Taba Harinam, Gebala Kaitav. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur wrote this song that my dear polluted mind, Dushtaman, Tumi Kishar Vaishnav, what kind of Vaishnav do you think you are? Pratishtara Kore, just for the sake of false prestige, Nirjanara Kore, you're making a show of chanting in a secluded place like Haridas Thakur or Rupa Goswami. But Tabakot Harinam Kebala Koitok, your Harinam is just cheating. It's just cheating. So we have to catch up the message of the spiritual master and devote ourselves to the service of the spiritual master. Then everything will come. Otherwise, just making a show will not be effective. The inward substance has to be there. Is that all right?
Yes, Maharaj, perfect. So that follow-up was on we always hear that the Vani is more important than the Vapu. And when we listen to the Vani, we get the essence. As you were mentioning, catching the essence is more important. So Maharaj, there are so many messages that the Guru Maharaj gives. There are so many in his lectures you listen, and then we can try and understand the essence. But I don't think it's possible to follow all the essence. So you try and pick and choose something that you think you'd be able to do. Would that be kind of cherry picking? What suits your
No, you have to
outlook?
see what is he pushing. You know, Srila Prabhupada, if you look through his instructions, as you say, there's so many, but there's some he's pushing again and again and again. So that we have to see. Just like Prabhupada said, I saw that he was very enthusiastic about books. So Prabhupada picked that out. That he was always after books. Where is book? Where is book? So, of course, each person has his own engagement, but we should try to understand by performing our prescribed duties, what is it that the spiritual master wants from me? What should I do? What should I do? Everyone has some duty to perform, and we should do that with diligence, with devotion, with attention. To begin with, chant 16 rounds and follow the 4 regulative principles before we go on to more esoteric things. Before we go on to more esoteric things, try to chant 16 rounds, good rounds, Prabhupada said, and follow the 4 regulative principles. Then we can go on to other things.
Yes, Maharaj.
You had another question?
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Anything else?
Thank you, Maharaj, for a wonderful class. Mr. Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur Goswami Prabhupada. Just reflecting on the philosophies, the Viruddha Vapasiddhanta, as you mentioned, that I mean, is remembering the Indra acting as a fake sannyas dress and trying to steal the horse of Prithu Maharaj under sacrifice. Then I was also reflecting on the Chaitanya Charitamrita, where I think 9th chapter, Madhya Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started traveling to South India, and there Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami writes as Nana Mata Grah Grasta, various crocodiles of philosophy and Kruparina, very mercifully he delivered all of them, so many types of philosophers, and converted everybody into Vaishnavas in South India.
So nice. Apasiddhanta, Dvanta, and Prabhupada also fighting with everyone, with the scientists, with the Mayavadis, anyone who was against the principles of surrender to Krishna. Karma kandis, Gana kandis. Apasiddhanta. Okay, anything else? Okay, we can stop here. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila
Hare
Prabhupada.
Krishna. Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Bye.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you.
Holiness Jai Advaita Swami Maharaj ki Jai.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki jai.
Jai.
Veta Bhakta Brinda ki jai.
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 Ramanande.
Hari.
Okay. So we'll just have some few announcements. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah, Prabhu.
Yeah. Thank you very much for joining this virtual and live session from Central New Jersey. Coming week, we'll have the New Year's Eve, December 31st. Before that, I believe Thursday is Ekadasi, right? Minimally chanting from grains and beans and increasing our Krishna consciousness. We'll have Ekadasi Kirtan, also on Zoom in the evening from 7 to 9 on Thursday. Then December 31st, traditionally we do our New Year's Eve program at the temple. We will also be doing that virtually on Friday from 7 p.m. to, we'll give more details about it, but at least it'll go till 10, 11 o'clock or probably midnight with Kirtan and other things. So we will send you the details of the New Year's Eve. January 2nd, Sunday. Since COVID spikes are increasing left and right, probably will do that program virtually. We'll meet virtually till things stabilizes. We'll keep you posted on more details on that. But that's what we are leaning at, to keep more virtual programs than live programs to protect yourselves and others around you. Okay, are there any questions? We already have our 2022 calendars out. So if you are at the temple, please grab your 2022 calendars. It has all our festivals, Ekadasi times, Ekadasi days, and Pana times on it. It's a wonderful calendar. And we'd like to thank Hari Kishore Prabhu and his team with a loud Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol. Hari Bol.
Putting this calendar together. Really. Krishna Prabhu, any other announcements?
That's about it, Prabhu. That's it. Virtual. 31st is virtual. Yeah.
31st is virtual, and I also announced January 2nd will also become virtual. The Sunday program will send more details around it. Thank you very much. We'd like all of you to be safe. If you're in the temple, please ensure that you're wearing mask, scanning temperature when you enter in, maintaining social distancing, and I'm sure we have take out prasad for all of you. Please take prasad. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol.